back to the Opinionated Musings of Eric and Tim. I'm Tim.
And I'm Eric.
So today we are going to count down our top 5 Kiss albums. Kiss is a band, you probably remember in the first episode of this series, I talked about how Eric and I met, and it was Kiss related, and it's been Kiss from then on, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. When I first met Tim, the first thing I said to him before I even sat down was, "Do you like Kiss?"
Real serious too. Yeah. Like I'm not sure what your reaction was going to be if I said no.
I was going to leave the room. I'm not taking this class.
Done with this high school homeschooling. Here at the top of the video, I think we got to get some business out of the way regarding Kiss. The state that band has turned into.
I don't even like to call them. I mean, Kiss to me is not 70-year-old fat Gene Simmons, you know what I mean? Prancing around, still acting like he's 28, you know. But I'm not big on the idea of the guys wearing the makeup of somebody else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought what they did when they got Vinny in the band and like Eric Carr, where they gave them their own like identity, you know, inside Kiss. That was okay because they weren't. I mean, basically the guys now, and Tommy Thayer, you know, is an okay guitar player, but I just don't like him like impersonating Ace, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Eric Singer and Tommy Thayer, I like them. I think they're great musicians. They're fine. I don't begrudge them being in the band, but I'm 100% with you about them wearing the Catman and the Spaceman makeup.
Right.
To me, Kiss has become their own cheap tribute band. You know, I don't care that Ace and Peter signed away the rights to the Spaceman and Catman personas,
right,
and it's all legal and above board and all. You know, like you said, when Eric Carr joined the band, they made him the Fox. When Vinnie Vincent joined the band, he was the Ankh warrior. He had the Egyptian deal going on. And they could have done that with Eric and Tommy, I think, and nobody would have batted an eye. I mean, just give them their own gimmick. If you want somebody to come out on stage and shoot rockets out of their guitar and have the smoking pickups, get Ace in for an appearance. Give Eric, you know, give Tommy his own thing. You know, I'm the more competent guitar player. That's his thing.
Yeah, right. Another thing that worries me is just all the bad mouthing that goes on. You know, it's mainly from probably, you know, Gene more than anybody about, you know, Peter and Ace. You know, it's impossible to work with them and all. And, you know, some of that's
Paul's
probably
never been friendly to him either. I've heard a lot of stuff. I haven't read the book, but I've heard his audio excerpts from Paul's book, and I mean, he just tears them apart.
Right.
So, I mean, they're just all over. It's so high school, you know.
Very, very much so. But that being said, most of the stuff that Ace has released in the last, say, 10 years, I like a lot more than anything Kiss has released in the last 10 years. Now that could be because I'm such a huge Ace, you know, fan to begin with.
Maybe that's me as, you know, a grumpy old man too, but I really feel like somewhere along the way it became more about the brand than the band.
Sure.
But we could go on all night about that.
Yeah, like I said to you, you know, off camera or whatever, that we could do a separate rant video that would probably last a weekend.
But let's change gears and move into the happier side, the good stuff, the things that make us feel awesome about the music, and get into the top 5 Kiss albums for us.
Right. You want to go back and forth like we normally do?
Yeah, let's go back and forth. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
My number 5 pick is the debut album, Kiss.
Okay.
A lot of good stuff on there. I mean, you know, you had my favorite though had to be, of all songs, Kissin' Time.
Really?
Yes.
The one that I think they added that at the last minute. Right?
Cheesy as it could possibly be, but you know, you and I grew up around Cincinnati. First line of the song is, we're kissing in Cleveland and Cincinnati too. I was like,
It's funny you say that
yes.
because when I was a little kid, I remember I thought they're singing about me. They said Cincinnati. I live in Cincinnati. They're
Yeah,
singing
they're
about me.
talking to me.
I totally agree with you.
Yep.
I lost my pen. I found my pen. I'm going to write yours down. Number one was Kiss, the debut album. Okay. Any other comments about that album?
There's a lot of cheese on there. Kissin' Time is part of that cheese, and you could tell it was a work in progress, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of nostalgia for me, so that's why it's on my list.
I think it's one of the coolest album covers too. Just just like the heads and all the black.
As much as the makeup
makeup
went on to change, yeah, but
right.
it was a look.
Ace's hair with the silver paint.
Yes.
Just cool looking. Just
cool
looking. Okay, my number 5 is Hotter Than Hell. It's a very raw sounding album, and when I was younger, it wasn't one of my favorite albums, but now that I've gotten older and once I started playing guitar and learning Kiss songs on guitar, I really started to like that album more just because it's got it's got the title track, Watching You, the Ace song, called Parasite, awesome riff in that. So that's my number 5. Very odd album cover.
Favorite track?
Probably Parasite.
Probably Parasite. All right, good pick. All right, that puts us up to number 4. My number 4 pick, the First Alive album. The band, that's the album that really kind of started to break them through into the big leagues.
Right.
Because up until that point, those first 3 albums didn't really do anything. But then Alive came out, and that was like the start of the whole concept of the Kiss Live experience.
Right. Very cool album cover. Opens and those kids on the back holding the
holding the banner. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to love that album if for no other reason than that is the definitive version of Rock and Roll All Night.
What's your do you have a favorite track on that?
Rock and Roll All Night. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's an iconic song, and they nailed it. They just nailed it.
All right. I mean, that's kind of an odd song for me because it's because that's what everybody knows. That's the Kiss song. But I'm almost to the point now when Rock and Roll All Night comes on, I don't even really listen to it. It's just as a Kiss fan, as a Kiss fan, knowing their entire catalog, I'm just so sick of that being the only song that non-Kiss fans even know.
I can see that. I mean? That's a good point, really. Yeah. I still love the song. I think because it's the song that everybody knows, it's the song they're going to go down in history for. Right. I mean, a few others too, but I mean, that's the song that, when they play the Kiss retrospective, they're naming the great rock bands of the past, 200 years and the far future, and they're going to play Rock and Roll All Night.
Just slightly ahead of Sweet Cheetah. You know what, though? Say what I say about Rock and Roll Night. I mean, it's one of the definitive rock anthems of all time.
And that's why I picked it. But I can also see your side of it because it's kind of like with us as Rush fans. You get kind of sick of everybody knows the only thing people know about Rush that aren't Rush fans is Tom Sawyer. So you're like, yeah, we're over that song. There's so much other stuff. So I get where you're coming from too, definitely.
Okay, over to me. Number 4, right? I didn't jump one, did I? Is Revenge, which I don't remember the year. It's probably early 90s. But in my opinion, the best album that the new Kiss, ever did. I've got written down here, Thou Shalt Not, Domino, Unholy, I Just Wanna, are all killer tracks off that album. And listening to that recently when I was preparing for this video really reminded me just how much I really liked that album. And I remember when that came out, I think I might have even saw the video for Unholy before I heard anything. And I thought, oh man, they really came back, because leading up to that,
Yeah.
stuff hadn't been that heavy and that good. And that's a fairly heavy album for that time, and I just really dig it. So that kind of jumped on. And I will say that's the only new Kiss album that's on my entire list. So, but I really dig that album. Are you a fan of that album by any chance?
I'm gonna withhold comment at this point in my list.
Okay.
That puts us up to number 3, an oddball pick for me. Music from the Elder. I know, not a popular pick among the Kiss army. I'm quite sure, but I just think there was a lot of great stuff on there. I'm Just a Boy.
I love that song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's great stuff. Dark Light is my pick for the favorite track on there. It is just such a killer riff and easily one of Ace's best solos.
Yeah, I totally agree. That album,
off the wall and bizarre as that whole album was as a Kiss album, I thought it was great.
I love that album, and I think a lot of people appreciate that album more now than they did. But
yeah, it was a total left turn back when it came out.
I don't know. I've often asked myself, if this wasn't a Kiss album, if this was some other band, would I like it more? Would I not like? I don't know if I love it because it's a Kiss album, or if I love it just because it's so weird and not like them. But I never could put my finger on it. I mean, "I" is a killer song. Odyssey, I think it's called, right? It's great song. Like you said, Dark Light, awesome. Just a Boy. I love that stuff. But it's an odd album.
It's so funny that it's such a maligned album among other Kiss fans that you and I both like it so much. And I just remember thinking, when's the movie coming out? I got to see this. This will be amazing.
Right.
I'm sure it would have been like maybe about that much better than Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, but
I am a big fan of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Oh, but you gotta love that movie, because you gotta put yourself back in the mindset of when it came out. You and I were like, that big when it came out, and I mean, when Kiss came on the TV like that, they were superheroes, and I was ready. That was like Star Wars meets hard rock, and I was like, I'm on board. Take me on this ride, guys. You look at it now and you're like, ooh, wow, that was poorly done.
Had they made the Elder movie, though, there's no question it would have been worse.
Probably,
Morpheus, you have been summoned here to give your judgment of the boy. My number 3 is Dressed to Kill. My note says, short, great songs that are fun. About a year ago, I actually took a week or two and learned every song on that album on guitar. And I had like a list made on YouTube, of all the tracks, and I would just start and I'd play through like the whole album. And I didn't learn the leads like note for note or whatever, anything like that. But I learned them all, and I just played along. And I would have, I'd waste the whole evening just playing guitar along with that album.
I really do think there's a lot of merit as far as a guitar performance aspect, because Kiss songs get the I don't know, they get the what's the word I'm looking for? The notion, the perception that they're just dumb, simple songs. Right. And if you really give them kind of just a cursory go over it one time with your guitar and figure out the power chords and yeah, we're ready to play, I can see where that comes from. But if you really dig down deep, there's some little twists in those riffs that Ace and Paul, to an extent too, and Gene and everybody, put some little nuggets in there that really add a lot of texture and flavor and character to the songs, that if you're not really trying to reproduce it note for note, you just kind of miss. You go, oh, it's these 4 chords, and here's their verse, and here's the chorus, and let's go. Right. And if you gloss it over, you can get that impression that these are just dumb 3-chord songs. But there's more in there.
Yeah. Well, I've got a lot more respect for Paul as a guitar player now than I ever did. One, finding out that some of the stuff that I thought was ace was really him, but just otherwise, he wrote some really catchy, guitar riffs. There's no question. So
Yeah, definitely.
On Dress to Kill, I've got Rock Bottom, Come On and Love Me, I love She. Those are my highlights on that album. Very cool album cover too. With the suit and everything like that.
Gene on there was.
I always like that.
Yeah. All right, that puts us up to number 2. My number 2 pick, Destroyer.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. Pulling out the big guns now. I mean, of course you got Detroit Rock City, God of Thunder, just, iconic songs that you can't go to a Kiss concert and not hear those songs. If they don't play at least those 2 songs, people are going to be rioting,
Right.
But honestly, my favorite pick off that album, Do You Love Me?
Great song.
It's cool drum beat. It's great drum beat, and for me, the extra orchestration as that song comes out with the bells and the piano coming in just really adds there's this majestic feeling as it goes out. It gets to me big time.
Well, they were working with Ezrin, who Bob Ezrin is a pretty serious guy when it comes to making really good records. So
yeah.
My number 2 and my number 1 can basically flip flop on any given day. And I really
this is number 2 as of this moment.
Yeah, I really bounced back and forth. I kept flipping my number 1 and number 2, but for reasons I'll explain, I guess my number 2 is Love Gun. Shock me, being such an Ace fan. Obviously,
yeah.
I think my favorite Kiss song of all, I Stole Your Love, it actually opens this album, and that is just a killer upbeat. The riff is awesome. I love playing that on guitar. It's a great song, but really dig that album. And I'm trying to think that might have been the first. Yeah, I'm almost positive it was the first Kiss album I actually bought, that I actually owned. Just I've always loved that album. I used to take tracing paper and trace the cover and then color it when I was a little kid. So they just looked like like you said earlier, superheroes. They were just Ace on the cover of Love Gun standing like that.
Yes, right there behind you.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there it is.
Good pick.
My number 2.
All right, that puts us up to the honorable mentions.
Right.
And my honorable mention is one of your earlier picks, Revenge.
Okay.
It's the only non-makeup album on my list. Right. And to me, it is easily, far and away, the best of the non-makeup era albums. I mean, it's just killer. Like you said, Unholy, I Just Wanna, Every Time I Look at You.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to kind of go, oh, yeah, the sappy ballad. But, man, that was a great song.
As far as sappy ballads
killer
go,
songwriting.
That's a pretty good sappy ballad.
Yeah. For me, it's a little less hardcore, but I love God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too.
Really? See, that's my least favorite song on the record.
Really? It's your least favorite?
I don't know why.
That's mine. It's an oddball pick, but, and this is going to sound so totally stupid, but they used it in the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Okay. And, by that point in the movie, they're silly, they're stupid movies, but you're rooting for Bill and Ted the whole time. And then they're just at the end of the show doing their concert, just ripping that song out. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want to be those guys when I grow up. All right, what's your honorable mention?
Let me write yours down so I don't forget it. Okay, my honorable mention is actually Destroyer. My notes say I like this more than I used to. Shout It Out Loud, probably my second favorite, Kiss song. God of Thunder.
Yeah.
Sweet Pain. I love that track on there. And I've got a note here that Great Expectations deserves notice. I wouldn't call it a great track, but they really reached for something with that song. Whether or not they hit it or not, I'll leave that up there, up to everybody to decide on their own. But I dig that song. So.
All right. Well, I think that leads us up to the number ones.
Yep.
And my number one pick, Alive 2.
Really? Wow.
Alive 2.
I was
You
thinking.
think back to the 70s and 80s when you and I were, in the single digits and then the teenagers. That was the LP experience, Alive 2. Sitting in front of the stereo with that big double fold out album. LPs were gigantic. Kids today don't know this. And you had the giant picture of the stage and artwork all over it. I mean, it was an experience just having it in your hands and then listening to it at the same time. Now, you can go all day long and rag on how it wasn't live. They did it mostly redid a lot of stuff in the studio, and they had a tape loop for the crowd noises and whatnot. I can give you all of those arguments, but their argument as to why they did it that way, it for me holds up. And it's that they weren't trying to give you a live show recorded. They were trying to give you the live experience.
Right.
And I think they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. One thing I will say, I'm interested to hear what you think. The last side, where it's actually the non-live songs,
right?
Those are pretty good song. I mean, "Rocket Ride" is friggin' awesome.
You just named my favorite track.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite track on there. Yeah.
All American Man.
Yeah, All American Man. Yeah. Well, all right. That brings us up to your number one pick, sir.
My number one is actually your number 5, the debut album, Kiss.
And we come full circle.
See how that works, kids? It's raw. It's got a ton of killer guitar riffs. My highlight tracks are Cold Gin, Deuce, Strutter, 100,000 Years. I'm not so much a Black Diamond fan as I used to be, although I still dig it. I could do without the sludge ending where, slow
yeah,
stuff like that. But
it was cool for a while, but like the more you hear it as you get older, you're like, all right, come on, can we get on with this?
I usually don't even listen to it, but I would have a hard time if I had to pick up my favorite track. Man, I would say it used to be Cold Gin. We used to do Cold Gin,
Oh yeah. What band didn't do Cold Gin
right.
when you're playing your covers?
I would say it's probably either Deuce or it might even be 100,000 Years, which I remember I didn't like so much when I was a kid, but learning it on guitar and stuff, it's just kind of funky, and I like the drums in it, and so I would say it's a toss up between Deuce and 100,000 Years for me, as favorite track on that album. But that's kind of funny how my number one is your number 5. And,
yeah, well, and like I told you before we started recording, my number one I was set on. I knew it was going to be Alive 2. That was going to be my pick. But the rest of the list just kind of, it was in flux, until last night when I was like, all right, I'm done.
That is it.
There we have it. Rant, lists, good to go.
Rant, part 2, probably coming later. The Kiss that's out now, for anybody who's thinking that the Kiss that they're seeing in 2020 is anything like, the old Kiss. Now, maybe they play better. I don't think they necessarily sound better vocally or anything like that.
Yeah. I think probably playing wise, because I think you can definitely make the argument that Tommy and Eric are more competent, well-rounded players overall than probably Ace or Peter. They're nowhere near as iconic.
That seems like a harsh word. They're more technically, they play more technically correct.
Technically proficient.
One of the cool things about Ace, though, is he's got a little bit of that slop. You know what I mean? And that's what made Ace Ace. But
there is, it's definitely Ace's personality is always going to carry him. Whatever he may lack in a technical aspect, his personality and his character is going to come through the play, and that's going to push it over the top. I think all the time.
Well, people, anyway, that is our list of our top 5 Kiss albums. Would love to hear in the comments, everybody's top 5 or arguments why ours aren't right or why they're, why they are right.
Or just albums you like, why you like it. Talk to us.
Give us some, if there's a band out there that you'd like our take on them, let us know that too.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll do it. All right, everybody, that's it for our lists this time. We will see you in the next video.
Bye.
They all said I was crazy.
We're such idiots.
Perfect. It's like a holiday air today. And it's making me start a coughing fit and I can't get it to quit.
I'm just saying this. If you die on camera, it's going on YouTube.
All right, everybody.
Anyway,
we will see you next time. How about we try that with one of us talking?
That happens.
That's a damn good soundbite. I like that.